Welcome to Green Beans, where two boys dressed in green sit on beans and chat about life. I am your host, Jared, and with me is my co-host and brother, Ethan.
Hello.
And today is, it's a special day. It's a little happy and also a little sad.
I'm so sad.
Me too. Do you want to explain why it's a special day?
Today, as you are watching this is going to be the last Green Beans episode of Season 1.
Season 1 is coming to an end. So yeah, this is our 12th episode, and we started this Green Beans podcast project at the end of last school year, towards the start of summer, and we kept it going through the whole summer, and now the school year is starting back up again. So we Ethan's going back to college, and I'm going to be very busy with stuff going on with school. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to keep making weekly episodes like we were over this summer. But hopefully it won't be the end. You know, we're going to come back with season 2, possibly during school breaks, maybe next summer.
At some point, Season 2 will come out.
Yeah, so this isn't the end of Green Beans forever, but at least for now.
We're taking a break.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, it was very enjoyable doing this with you, Jared. I'm very glad that we had the idea of starting a podcast. You know, learn a few things, and present content for our 20 viewers.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I don't think we ever really talked about how Green Beans got started, but I guess we could.
Let's tell the story.
Yeah. So, pretty much, as we've talked about in the past, Ethan and I both work at a pizza place, and I wash dishes there. And, you know, that's a very boring and tedious task that I'm doing for hours on end. And just, you know, washing dishes, boring. So I like to listen to podcasts while I wash dishes. And, you know, every single week when I'm working, I have those same group of podcasts that I listen to. And I love it. Podcasts are like one of my favorite forms of media. It's like, it depends on the podcast, but in general, podcasts are a lot more like of a chill vibe. And it's just people talking, you know, sometimes it can be funny, sometimes it can be informative. It's usually just overall really interesting. And, you know, when listening to these podcasts, you know, people will be talking about stuff and having conversations. And I always wish I could just jump into that conversation as well. And, you know, I want to chime in. I want to share my thoughts on the topic. But, you know, obviously I can't do that because I'm just listening to the podcast. But I had this thought, and I was like, you know, one day I want to have a podcast. Like, I love podcasts. So one day I'm just going to do it. I'm going to start a podcast, and I'm going to have other people with me, and we're going to chat, and it's going to be great. But when I thought of this idea, I was thinking way far in the future, like years down the road, like once I'm an adult, that this would happen. But we were sitting at dinner one day. It was me and Ethan and I think our mom. Yeah, definitely our mom. And we were sitting and having dinner. And, you know, I mentioned, you know, one day I'm going to have a podcast. And then our mom said, why don't you start it right now? And, you know, I thought about it. And I was like, huh. I guess there's nothing stopping me. And yeah, our mom was like, if you want to do a podcast, why don't you just do it right now? And then you'll have that experience. And so then you said that you'd be interested in joining me on the podcast. And so we were like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, I remember saying yo, I have a camera so we can do a YouTube. We didn't have microphones at the time, so we put in a little money for some cheap. They were decent microphones, I'd say.
Yeah,
I
okay
liked them.
quality mics.
But yeah, I had a few lights. The camera, I was like, yeah, I have the equipment. We have the editing software, so we can totally do it if you want.
Yeah, and so we did, and the rest is history. And here we are now with episode 12.
Wow, 12 episodes, man.
I know. But I guess we can sort of bring it back into how we would normally go with an episode. So do you want to say about how if you did anything cool this week?
Well, let's see. yesterday. That was Friday's yesterday. We're recording on Saturday. Um, I went on a hike up Mount Mansfield. That's the highest mountain in Vermont, and it's probably my favorite mountain I've hiked. It's not easy. It's somewhat challenging. There are a few parts where you literally have to rock climb,
Yep.
but I really like it. It's really fun. Although, so I went with one of my friends before, I'm doing stuff with my friends before I leave for college. So, um, and yeah, we when we went to the top, which is about 3 miles up, then when we were coming down, took a wrong turn
Okay.
down this like sketchy path with like more rock climbing, and then there's like a ladybug on your shirt, Jared.
What?
There's a ladybug
Where?
right on your neck.
Oh, it fell.
Sorry to stop the story. I got distracted by that.
It fell. Where? I don't know where it went.
Did it despawn?
I found it. Ladybug.
His name is Leroy.
Leroy the ladybug. I'll keep him here, or I guess her.
Leroyette.
Leroyette. I'll keep Leroyette right here. So our video watchers can hopefully see Leroyette. But continue with your story.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We took a wrong turn, and we did some sketchy rock climbing. There was one really wet rock we had to like, boulder across or whatever, where you go sideways, and that was really sketchy because there's like a little drop. Wasn't a big drop, but luckily it was a loop, so we went back to where we started, and we're like, huh, okay, so that's not how you get down. Let's go a different way. And so we finally figured it out. So it turned out like what should have been a 6 mile hike was about 7.5 miles, but that's okay. It was still fun. Took the first half of the day to do, but that was, yeah. I haven't been able to do many hikes this summer because I really love hiking. So at least I got to do one.
That's not awesome. Yeah, I've hiked Mansfield twice before, I think, and it's a good hike. So I guess for me in this past week, so one of my friends, she is half German, and she spent the entire last school year in Germany as an exchange student. So I didn't see her all last year, but then she came back this summer, and so this past week I got to see her again, and we hung out, and it was really nice. I got to hear about her time in Germany, so that was cool. And then also, most importantly, I started school this week.
School?
I know. It's been so yeah, we're recording this on Saturday, and my school started on Wednesday, so I've had 3 full school days. And yeah, it's been weird because, in March of 2020, schools shut down because of COVID, and that was my last time I had a normal school year. Because all of last year, like we talked about in the first episode of the podcast, I only went to school 2 days a week, and the other 3 days I was doing online remote stuff. So this week, going to school for 3 days this week, which is a short week when it comes to school, that was the most amount of days I'd been to school in a single week since March of 2020, so in a year and a half.
Wow.
And it felt weird. And something else is, normally in my school, we have A days and B days. So you don't just have the exact same classes every day. One day you have a set of 4 classes, and then the next day you have a different set of 4 classes. It switches every other day. And so at once you have 8 classes going on, but each day you only have 4. But last year we condensed it, and we had all of our classes going on every day last year. And so then going back to this year, returning to our 5 days a week, A-day, B-day schedule, it was really weird because I went to all my classes on the first day, and then on the second day of school, I went to all completely different classes, and it was kind of like a second first day of school.
Huh. Wow. And you let's see. I was gonna ask you something, and then it escaped my mind. Um, yeah, no,
All
I'm
right.
sorry, I forgot.
That's okay. And yeah, it's definitely weird because like last year we only had half of our school in the building at the time because, half the school went on
I
Mondays
was
and
just gonna
Tuesdays.
ask you. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna say
I
like,
read your mind.
there's half the school that you just didn't see last year.
Yeah, exactly. So half the school went on Mondays and Tuesdays last year and the other half went on Thursdays and Fridays. I was part of the Monday Tuesday group. And so it's just so weird. There's like so many people in the school now. So like my school has 700 students about, and like all of my classes were really small last year. And so like I think my biggest class had like maybe 12 people. And that was like my biggest class. Like I had a class that had I think 5 people including me.
Wow.
And so then this year we're back to like 20 to 30 some people classes. And I mean like for my PE class there's even more than that. And it's just so weird. Like there's so many people like between classes, the halls are just flooded with students, and it's just been so long since I've experienced that. It's been a real like shock.
Yeah, that must be really. Although it's like normal, like it's
Yeah.
right now, it feels different.
Yeah, I mean something that a lot of people were saying during like I mean obviously we're still in the pandemic, like the coronavirus is not gone, but things have been getting a lot better and we're nearing the end of it. But like towards the beginning and into like the thick of the pandemic, lots of people were talking about like, oh, this is going to become the new normal, and like the term new normal was like very common, and I heard it all the time, and it was absolutely true. Like going to school 2 days a week became normal, and like having very small classes became normal. Having the same classes every day became normal. And so now I need to find this new normal, which was normal before in the past, but now it's so like it's crazy how just that 1 year like threw everything off, and it just feels so weird. And I'm kind of worried for next week because it's like our first like full week of school, and 5 days.
Man.
The last time I went to school 5 days a week was a year and a half ago. It's like I'm afraid it's going to be a little overwhelming.
I think you can do it. I like last year, my freshman year of college, I did 5 days a week. I mean, I didn't do 2 days a week like you did, but
Yeah.
I did like quite a bit of online and transitioning back to in person. Like it was kind of weird at first, but it's not really that overwhelming. At least for me, it wasn't.
Yeah. I hope it's not too bad, but it's been weird, especially with like concert choir, because I do band and choir at my school, and we have my school has 2 choirs during the school day. I think in total my school has 5 choirs.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But there's 2 that like meet as classes during the school day. The other ones are like either after school or don't count as classes. And so the main 2 are chorus and concert choir. And chorus is for only freshmen. So just all of the freshmen that are in chorus that do choir are in chorus. And then there's concert choir, which is just everybody else. So everybody that is not a freshman and is in choir is in concert choir. And so my freshman year, I had chorus, which was a relatively smaller like choir because it was only people in my grade. It wasn't from the whole school. And yeah, that was my experience freshman year. And then all of last year, we only had half the school there at a time. So even though concert choir was a really big group, I never got to experience that because when I was at school, only half of concert choir was there. So it was still a relatively small choir. But now this year, we have a full concert choir. There's like 40 to 50 people in our choir. It was so weird. On the second day of school was my first choir class, and the entire music room is just full of people. And like, it was just, I walked in and I was very taken aback. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of people. And like, obviously it's awesome and I'm excited because, the more people you have in choir, like you're going to have a more powerful sound. Like you don't have voices like stick out as much.
Yeah.
If I'm sucking, there's going to be other people next to me that are carrying my load.
Or also sucking.
That's true. That's true. um, but yeah, choir was really a big shock seeing that huge of a choir because like even that is not normal to me and was never normal to me because when I did have chorus my freshman year, it was only with the freshmen. So I was never in a choir that big.
Yeah. I think kind of in general, we need to kind of be adaptable once again. Like as you said, like it's kind of like when we were switching over to online. Now we have to like switch that mode again.
Yeah.
Like do a little switch in our brain or something to get us more comfortable, more familiar with returning back to the way it used to be. So, yeah, and it's going to be different for a lot of people. Some people are going to be really comfortable with it, and other people are going to be hesitant, and they're like, I don't think I'm ready.
Yeah.
Where do you think you fall under that spectrum? Do you think you're like, you're all for it, or you don't think you're ready, or you're a little meh?
I don't know. I'm like, emotionally, I feel like I'm already super excited for things to get back to normal. Like, I just want to go back to how it was before the pandemic. But then actually, like, in practice, I feel a little different. Like, the entirety of last school year, I had been saying, like, that I didn't like going 2 days a week. And I wanted to return to 5 days a week. But now that I'm actually doing it, it's like, whoa, this feels weird. And, like, in concept, this is what I want. But then actually experiencing it, it's like, well, I had gotten too used to it this other way. So now I like it better this other way.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like both ways. I mean, school kind of sucks regardless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it could be the online. Some people, a lot of people struggled with online.
Oh, yeah.
But some people liked it more because it was more, asynchronous. You could do what you wanted. You could be lazy.
Yeah. I mean, I know, at least with me, because, I went to school last year. I went to school on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then on Wednesdays, I had classes over Zoom. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, I just had asynchronous work. So my teachers gave me work to do and said, okay, here, do this on your own. And most of the time, I would do all of my work for all of my classes on Thursday. And then on Friday, I would just have nothing. And so it was kind of like I had one less school day. And that's just like not at all an option this year.
Unless if you just don't go on Fridays.
Yeah, I think that's frowned upon.
I agree with that.
What about you? Talk about how your experience with going back to college and how you're feeling about that.
Dude, I'm pumped. I'm really excited actually. Although my workload is bad. I'm taking more credits than I want to. That's a whole situation.
Yep.
Do you want me to explain it?
I mean, I'm aware of the situation, but if you want to briefly explain it,
I'll
go for it.
I'll briefly explain it. So, my college is UVM, University of Vermont, and so all the dorms there are assigned learning communities. So, like, you can live with people who have similar interests as you.
Yeah.
It's useless. I don't understand why they do it. And so last year I was in a learning community called Outdoor Experience, and then this year I'm switching to a learning community called Wellness. But Wellness is different than the others because it's worse. Because they require that you take a class to live in that dorm, which all the learning communities have you take a class when you're a freshman, because it's kind of like hey, here's how UVM works. Let's meet some people while doing a class that relates to your learning community. That's basically the purpose of it, to meet people. But as a sophomore, you don't have to do those classes unless if you're going into wellness. You have to do it no matter what.
So, like, the school has a ton of various dorms and learning communities that you could be a part of, and the one that you're in just happens to be the only one where sophomores have to take the class.
Exactly.
That sucks.
Yeah. And so that's a 3-credit class, and compared to the other ones were 1 credit. so there's that. And if I don't take the class, then I'll get kicked out of the door.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's absurd. So I had to sign up for the class when I already had a full schedule. So now it's more than I want. And I'm gonna try to move out of it, but seeing how this year we have the largest freshman class in UVM history.
Oh, wow.
So
Do you know how big?
as this big,
That big. Just
that big.
for our audio only, Ethan just held up his hands like about a foot apart, and he said that big. That's how
Yeah.
big their class is.
That's how big their class. I don't know how big. It's large. So yeah. So my workload's kind of loaded right now. Might change. Don't know. But other than that, like I'm excited to see some of my friends I met in college again. I'm excited to be a part of running club, so I can consistently run more often. And I might do another club depending on a lot of different things. But maybe if there's another club, I might do it. But right now it's just running club. They're gonna traveling is now allowed for clubs because running club used to travel. And yeah, there's not really any restrictions on classes, on clubs. There's only one rule this year, and that's if you're inside, you have to wear a mask. Other than that, no rules, no distancing, no. You don't have to wear a mask outside. Capacity limits in dining halls aren't a thing, so
Yeah.
that'll be nice.
Yeah, I forgot to mention all of the COVID precautions that are being taken at my school. So
yeah, that's right.
for this year, we're a similar situation where masks are required indoors. So when we're in our classes and stuff, you need a mask. But as my band teacher put it, outdoors is the Wild West of COVID rules. And so pretty much there aren't really any guidelines or rules about when you're outside. So if you're outside for because I'm taking PE this year, and so when I'm outside during PE, I don't have to have a mask, or we don't really have to worry about COVID rules when we're outside. But when we're inside, we have to wear masks. It's not a firm rule, but we're supposed to distance as much when possible. Whereas it's another thing that's really just a shock is that in my classes, I'll be sitting at tables next to other people. Whereas the entirety of last year, every single student always had to be at least 6 feet apart away from each other.
Yeah.
So I was sitting at my desk, and then 6 feet away from me was another person. But this year we don't have to distance that much.
So now you can gossip.
Yeah,
in the middle
exactly.
of class.
Last year, in every single class, every desk was at least 6 feet apart. So the closest you could possibly be to somebody is 6 feet away from them. And that actually really helped with side conversations because, if I want to talk to my friend, say I just happen to get lucky and my friend in my class is in the seat directly next to mine, they're still 6 feet away from me. Me and you right now are sitting closer than 6 feet together.
Yeah, we're 4 feet away.
Yeah, and so if somebody's sitting 6 feet away from me, I have to talk loud, especially because we have masks on. I would have to talk loud for them to hear me. And, in school, if you're having a side conversation, you usually try to be quiet about that because you don't want to get called out for it or noticed. And I remember last year, a lot of teachers thought it was really weird. They're oh, you guys should talk more. Why are you so quiet? And it's because if I want to tell something to the person next to me, I have to yell at them.
Yeah, that's something I experienced too in college. Because, yeah, we had to distance during class for the few in-person classes I had.
Yeah.
But we also, sometimes we did breakout groups where we'd get in a small group and talk, and that was probably the best way we could have conversations besides a class-wide discussion.
Yeah, I think genuinely last year, the social aspect of school just was
no
not
more
there.
social.
Yeah, it was you go to school and you never really got a chance to talk with friends because even last year during lunch we just ate our lunch in it's called home base. It's our homeroom, and we would have to we didn't eat lunch in the cafeteria. We ate lunch on our home base. But this year we're back to having lunches in the cafeteria, and there are a few guidelines, like when you're not eating, you're supposed to have your masks on, and each table is only allowed to have 6 people at it. But like the tables are pretty small. Like if you fit more than 6 people, it would be quite crowded even in a normal year. So like there's a few regulations, but it's not too bad. And also something else that my school is saying is that they've said that for the first 10 days of school, masks are required for everybody when we're indoors.
Yeah.
But if 80% of my school students are fully vaccinated, then after those first 10 days, masks are no longer required at school.
So that means that you should get vaccinated.
Yeah, anybody listening, if you're not vaccinated, you should really do it, you know? It's proven to be safe. The Pfizer vaccine just got full FDA approval. So if you're not vaccinated, please get vaccinated, because it's not, you know, a lot of people think, you know, it's my body, I should get to choose, but your personal choice actually affects more than just you. It affects your entire community. So you should definitely get the vaccine if you're not. But
Would highly recommend.
highly recommend. I got the vaccine. I feel great.
However, my school does more than just highly recommend. They require vaccines.
Yeah, I think that's a really good step.
I agree with that. I'm glad that they chose to do that, because that means that they have the ability to lift a few restrictions because they know that everyone is vaccinated.
Yeah, exactly.
So the chance of COVID going around is less likely, not impossible, but it's less likely with everyone being vaccinated.
Exactly. Although something with my school is that, you know, because currently, as of recording this, the vaccines for COVID are only approved for people 12 and up. But, you know, I'm in a high school, so all of our students are above the age of 12, which means our entire student population is eligible for the vaccine. So like our little brother, his school is going to keep requiring masks no matter what, because those students can't get the vaccine. But in my school, we can. And so I don't know how they're going to determine what percentage of the population what percentage of our students are vaccinated. And they haven't really told us many details about that, but I hope that it all works out, because I would love to not have to wear a mask in school. But, you know, if we still have to wear them, I understand it. I'm not upset about that, because it's, you know, for a good reason.
Yeah. It's also like, it's kind of weird that at my volunteerness,
Mhm.
when I volunteer at an animal care
Facility.
It's an aquarium technically.
Yeah.
When I volunteer there, they've actually made a few more rules, because it used to be like you have to wear a mask whenever you're in the public areas, but then if you're like back at house, you don't have to wear it. But now they're like, wear it all the time, because, you know, the Delta variant is spreading, and since they're a very public space, you know, they're like an aquarium museum.
Yeah. Especially because like a lot of kids visit there.
That's one of the biggest reasons, is like most people that visit there are children under 12.
Yeah.
So they want to keep everyone safe, so they're having a few more restrictions, which I'm okay with. You know, I understand. We want to keep people safe. And, you know, I'm only there for 4 hours, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, you know, don't like wearing masks and stuff, but like I personally don't have a problem with it. Like I went the entirety of last school year wearing a mask for 6 hours a day, and like it was fine. Like it's not that bad.
Yeah. Last summer when I worked at a summer camp for kids, I had to wear my mask for 8 hours, except when eating lunch.
Yeah.
So I got one break with it off. And although like I had to find a comfortable mask, because if I had one with like tight straps, that would have been hard. But
Mhm.
like if I found a comfortable one, like
Yeah, with the right mask, it's not a big deal. All right. Any other expectations, hopes you have for this school year?
let's see. Well, since there's more events being held. Uh, I'd like to, get out of my dorm a lot more at school. They're like, because they're doing like this. I don't even know what it is. It's like this, hey, welcome to campus night type thing. And yeah, and they're also hosting special events for sophomores since we got literally nothing last year. Like,
Yeah.
no orientation, no nothing. You just came to campus and they're like, all right, we're going to tell you nothing. And you got to figure it out.
Yeah, I saw this. I saw a TikTok that I thought was funny, and it was talking about like college students on the first day, and so it showed like a freshman, and then they're like looking around and they're not sure where to go, and then it shows a sophomore, and then the freshman goes up to the sophomore and says like, "Oh, I'm looking for the science building. Could you help me find that?" And then the sophomore's like, "It's my first time here too. I have no clue where it is. Let's go ask them though." And then they point over to a junior, and then the sophomore and the freshman go over to the junior and ask, "Hey, could you help us find the science center?" And then the junior's like, "I haven't been here in years. I don't remember where that is."
Yeah, it's kind of kind of accurate, honestly. Yeah, it's going to be weird. We do have a sophomore prom.
Because your senior year of high school, you didn't get a prom.
Yeah, sophomore year college prom.
Let's go.
It's just a funny concept to me. Like, it's just so weird. I mean, prom in general was just like, oh, it's prom. Like, in movies, it's like way over dramatized. In reality, it's honestly really boring.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't really like school dances that much.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I don't see how prom would be any different from a normal school dance other than the fact it's just like juniors and seniors.
It has a higher budget, technically.
Mm,
Whether or not they do anything with that budget, I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, usually it's a nice venue. Usually you wear nicer clothes. That's about it. The same thing.
Yeah. I'll
But-
probably end up going to my school's prom this year if we have one.
You should invite me.
Yeah, you'll
No,
be my date.
Don't invite me, please. I don't want to go to a I'll probably go to college prom, but I'm not, no way I'm going to high school prom.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a bizarre concept that like sophomores get a prom.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. But for me, this is unrelated, but something that I'm looking forward to this year is I think I'm going to try doing a new sport.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. So
I don't think you've told me this yet.
I don't know if I have.
All right,
But-
hit me.
This spring, I want to play tennis.
Whoa!
Yeah, I've never played tennis before. Don't really know how it works. But, I really like racket sports. I've always found them interesting, like racquetball, table tennis. And recently this summer, our friend got us into playing pickleball.
Oh yeah, old person tennis.
Yeah, pickleball is just tennis for boomers.
Yep.
But yeah, I really enjoy playing racket sports. And there's something, I don't know, I just find it really satisfying when you get like a volley going.
How about badminton?
My school doesn't have a badminton team.
But do you do it in PE?
I don't know.
You do it second semester.
I've never taken second semester PE.
Okay. Because I did badminton club in college, and badminton is fun, except when you dislocate your shoulder. Don't do that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm going to do tennis this year.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, because I know you didn't do any sports last year, did you?
No, because yeah, our freshman year, the only sport I did was cross country. And, we've talked about it on a previous episode, but, I'm done with cross country for now. Running is awful. No thanks. Been there, done that.
He mostly did it for me, so
Exactly.
I'm thankful.
So
for
I'm
that.
not going to continue doing cross country in the future. And, I do lots of other like extracurricular activities. Like I do theater and I'm on the speech team. And I do our school's like variety night competition. But, other than that, I don't really do sports. I'm not a sporty type of guy, but maybe that's going to change because I'd like to try to do tennis this year.
Dude. And then if you get really good, then you'll. If you ever play with me, you'd stomp me.
Yeah, I'm gonna like train so hard and I'm gonna become a pro, and then I'm just gonna wreck you when you get back from college.
Dude, you could probably do that with like a week of practice. Honestly, I'm booty at tennis.
I'm pretty booty as well.
I guess we're both booty.
I like don't know the rules of tennis.
Okay.
That well,
You want to do tennis, but I think you
Yeah.
should start by before you even start doing tennis. You should look up the rules.
Well, here's the thing. Our mom seems to think, because I've told her that I want to try doing tennis this year, and she said that she doesn't know if that's a good idea because I've never played tennis before and I don't know how it works. Because, like, I don't know if you're supposed to like go into it knowing, because I feel like for most like high school sports, the assumption is that like you know how to play the sport. So I should
Well, I think
probably,
JV would probably be different.
yeah. Our school doesn't have
Maybe.
varsity and JV tennis. It just
Oh, it's just one
yeah,
tennis.
they just
team?
have one tennis
Oh,
team.
I didn't know that.
And it's kind of funny though, because our girls' tennis team is like huge, and then our guys' tennis team is like 5 people. Like you look at the yearbook picture, it's like girls' tennis, and it's just this crowd, and then boys' tennis is just this little tiny group.
Little baby group.
Yeah, but I'll definitely have to contact the tennis coach and be like, hey, so like, do you need to know how to play tennis to be on the team?
that seems like a question that could be easily answered,
But
but like it just seems that way.
I'll research, I'll figure it out.
I mean, you could before the tennis season starts in the spring, you could just find a friend and be like, "Hey, want to play tennis?" and just try it out.
That's true. I might end up doing that.
You could always go to the gym. They have tennis courts there, and just like if you don't have equipment, you can just rent some and just.
I'm sure
volley
we
around.
have tennis rackets.
We used to. I don't know if we still do.
Hmm.
But yeah, just like get a feel for how the racket feels, how the tennis ball bounces off the racket.
Yeah.
You know, get an idea of the court size. You know, all those little things that you just kind of learn over time.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get some practice in before the season starts, so I'm not learning how to play during a game.
Although we did that in skiing. We didn't know how to ski when
That's
we
true.
started, and then
Well,
you still didn't know how
yeah,
to ski
I,
by the
at the
end.
start of the season, no clue how to ski. At the end of the season, probably knew even less.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know how to ski, and then I learned a little bit, and I was like, okay, no more.
Yeah. But something else that happened this week is that our mom got a new car.
Wow, it's a Lamborghini. I'm joking. It's not a Lamborghini.
That'd be pretty sick. I would love to just whip up to school in a Lambo.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Our mom got a Toyota RAV4 Prime.
Yeah.
So, what that is your classic SUV type vehicle, but it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
So, I think most people know what hybrids are. Half electric, half gas.
Yeah. So, yeah, although I sat in the car for the first time this morning in the passenger seat and my head touched the ceiling.
Lower the seat.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could lower the seat, so I just got in the car and then my head was touching the ceiling and I was like, well, don't like this one.
Well, you can adjust the seat.
Yeah,
So.
I'll have to experiment with it. But
And it's red.
It's red, that's true. In the past, our parents have had very boring colored cars.
Like gray or brown
or dark gray
or light gray
or medium gray.
or really, really dark blue.
Yeah. But this is a red car. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You were going to say something.
Yeah. I personally not that interested in cars. Like they're all right, but But you are really into cars.
Dude, I love cars. Both Jared and I share a car. It's a 2017 Subaru Impreza Sport, manual transmission, so we both know how to drive it. And I think you think similar to me, but going back to automatic is not enjoyable once you've been driving a manual for a while.
Yeah, I remember because something that our parents have like wanted since I think even before either of us could drive, they were like, both of you, your first car has to be a manual transmission. So those are the cars that you have to like manually shift the gears.
Wow, it's called manual for a reason.
Yeah. And when I was first like learning how to drive, I was like, I do not want to drive manual. I would much rather drive automatic. and I was like not looking forward to it at all. And then, I got my license and then I drove manual, and then that I've had my license for almost a year now, and now I'm just so used to driving manual that when I do have to drive like one of our parents' cars for whatever reason, it feels weird. I like go for the clutch and then it's not there.
Yeah,
and
it's
I
like, where's the clutch?
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's once you've driven manual for a while, it's definitely a different experience when going back to automatic. I just entered a car giveaway because I'm looking for a car because Jared and I share one right now.
Yeah, and I'm keeping it while you go to college.
Yeah. So likelihood of me winning the car, very slim, but might as well enter. And it's a 1993 Nissan Skyline R32 GTS T Type M.
That means literally nothing to me. That you could
Okay.
You just spouted a bunch of gibberish. Yeah, I got a spaghetti drawer, piano key, knob, shirt, poop.
Yeah, that's the car I got.
Yep.
No. Yeah, car names they just slap letters in.
It's just a bunch of like WZM2481.
That's probably a car.
Yep. That's a car.
But yeah, no, it's a really like nice car. It's imported from Japan, so that means it's right-hand drive, which, you sit on the wrong side to drive. And yes, it is legal to drive like that in the US. Male men, male women, they do that all the time. Those trucks are right-hand drive. Because if you think about it, like when you're putting the mail in, you got to be on the outside of the road.
That's true.
This is perfectly legal to drive, and it's a 5-speed. And it looks so awesome. The company that's giving it away, it's called Prime Driven. But don't enter, because that decreases my chance.
Or just
winning.
enter for you, so you can have like a bunch of entries.
Or do that. But yeah, they tuned it and like replaced parts, so it's looking really good. And I really, really want it, but likelihood of me getting that is really low. And it would only be a summer car too, because it's rear-wheel drive.
And here in Vermont, during the winter with lots of snow and stuff.
Yeah, rear-wheel drive doesn't work very well. That's why everyone in Vermont owns like Subarus, because they're all-wheel drive. But yeah, that would be a really fun car.
I bet.
To own. Although you'd have to shift with your left hand.
That would be weird.
But the clutch and pedals and stuff, all the pedals are in the same place. It's just you have to shift with your left hand.
That would take some getting used to.
Yeah. But the gears are the same too. So you wouldn't like, the gears aren't flopped. So if you want to go to first, you'd go to the outside to where first is, and then you'd go down to second, third, fourth, fifth.
Weird.
Yeah.
All right. Do you maybe want to hit us up with a fossil fact?
Ethan's fabulous, fantastic, ferocious, flimsy fossil facts.
Ooh.
I put zero thought into this so far. So, okay. So looking at my computer has a background of a Carnotaurus, which means meat-eating bull.
Ooh.
Yeah. And Carnotaurus is only known from one fossil found somewhere in South America. Don't remember where. But it is a pretty recognizable dinosaur. It has horns coming. It's a meat-eating theropod. So like your T-Rex or Velociraptor, but he's like in between T-Rex and Velociraptor in size.
Okay.
He's like a medium-sized carnivore. And he's got horns sticking out above his eyes. So he's pretty recognizable. And he's got the tiniest arms, like way smaller than T-Rex. Like T-Rex arms, like they're real arms. They're small, but they're real. Carnotaurus arms are like little hands coming out of the side. Like they're nubs. They're tiny. So yeah, that's Carnotaurus because that's my computer background and that's what I thought of.
All right. And did you say that there's only ever been one fossil?
Yeah, one holotype. Holotype is the original fossil that the species is named after.
Mhm.
There's only one fossil that's been found of Carnotaurus.
Like one fossil or one like skeleton?
One skeleton. No, they found the big toe. That was it.
Yeah, they found the big toe and they just like made up the rest of the.
Yeah, no, that one skeleton discovered. Although it sometimes paleontologists find like a rib and they're like, oh, no species. And I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah, I feel like it'd be kind of hard to tell. Maybe it's just a really wacky shaped other
Yeah.
species.
Yeah, it happens. Some people think they find a new species and then it's not, just because they like find two bones.
Huh.
But yeah, so that's my fossil fact.
Awesome. So that brings us to the end of our episode. And I
I'm gonna
know,
cry.
so sad. This is the end of season 1 of Green Beans. Yeah.
Wow.
So thank you all for tuning in this season. Our episodes are still everywhere, so there's not going to be new ones coming out for a while, but can re-listen to all the old ones if you want.
That is I would never re-listen to a podcast, but you can.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
anything you want to add?
Let's see. Yeah. It was an honor to do this with you, Jared. I think
Likewise.
we learned quite a bit doing this, a little
Yeah.
bit about how podcasts work, like what goes into it, equipment, stuff like that. And it was fun, it was a learning experience, and so I think it was worth it.
Absolutely. I
enjoyed it.
agree.
And I want to thank everyone who tuned in, watched
Definitely.
some episodes, one, all. Thank you, because just simply having an audience, even if it is only 20 people, it's just kind of nice to know that someone's watching the work that the stuff you make.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in today, and stay tuned, I guess. Maybe there'll be something in the future, season 2 coming
I
at
hope
some
so.
point. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. See ya.
Bye.